Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Ayesha Hussain is an amazing authority. She's our guest today on the Amazing Authorities podcast. Ayesha, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mitch.
I'm glad you're here because you're going to unpack the word that most people don't understand. You are not only Australian, you're what is called a revert.
Yes.
What is a revert?
So the difference, so as a Muslim, we like to use the term revert rather than convert, because when you convert to something, you're going into something unknown, whereas we believe that we're all born as Muslims. So we are just reverting back to our faith.
Interesting. Oh, that could be a debate on its own because I know Islam is only 1,500 years old. What about the people before that? But that's interesting. So you're a revert, you've embraced Islam, and you had a background in another religion before, as I understand.
Yes.
But you're home where you are. You're very comfortable where you are.
Yeah, so Muslim itself as a term actually just means that you submit to one God.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Monotheism, another term for it. Okay.
Yes.
Well, here we are. Not that different than the Judeo-Christian religions as well, because that's one God. And then, the one that confuses me is the Hindus. They have 100 plus. And which one do you pray to? I don't know. I guess there's seasons or something. But you've got, so you're a revert. You're also in the space of digital marketing.
Yes.
And you coach women, revert women who aren't reverts necessarily, but a lot of people can relate to you in the revert market, let's call it, because your message matches them, because people relate to people that are like them. And what do you do for your clients today?
So I do digital marketing. I also do AI, strategic work, automating businesses and processes. I'm also a business and a life coach. And I personally, I just like to help other women that are, from around the ages of 30 up, that could have young families, or, that middle-aged child syndrome, and they want to regain their own careers, or they need to make extra money for their families, whatever it may be, and just, help them, show them the way that I did it, was able to build and create an online business and provide for my family.
Ayesha, okay. Wow. Whoa. My internet went a little
I thought
bit.
it did. I was like, you're frozen.
Yeah, you froze too. You're right in the middle of the sentence. Okay. So all right. So let me ask again, and we'll take care of this in editing. I don't know where that came from. The weather's perfect and everything. Please say that again.
Okay. So as a mum, like for me personally, I needed to go out and make a living once my marriage dissolved. So I needed to provide for my family. So I upskilled myself. I went into the digital marketing arena. I went into the AI field now. I'm also a business and life coach. So my goal is to help as many revert women that would like their own careers, like to be at home, work around their families, the young children, and create whatever it is that they would like to do for themselves.
Well, that's great. Now, we met not too long ago at an 8-day AI conference where the information was through a fire hose, not a garden hose, a fire hose, by our friend David Kavanaugh. And I learned a ton, you learned a ton. how are you able to, with the AI tools you learn there, enable people to be more efficient in their work? Because it's an efficiency tool for one. That's one of the main benefits of AI.
Absolutely. So AI itself, a lot of people just refer to it as ChatGPT. So they think it's just a somewhere that you can put information into and get some information out of. But it's that's just the tip of the iceberg. So with AI, my job and what I love doing is creating automations so that businesses, they finish at 5 o'clock. They can go home, go to their families, but I can install systems within their businesses that will answer their phone while they sleep, will take messages, will answer messages, will collect emails so that they're generating new leads and sales for companies. And yeah, a chatbot can answer any questions that a receptionist could do on the phone. But like any receptionist, we're human, we get sick, we need time off, we need, whatever. Whereas AI automation will streamline a business, it will save time so that the administrator or receptionist can actually work on other projects, and it makes it a lot more time efficient. Nobody's gonna, it's 365 days a year, 24/7. You have someone there taking messages, answering messages, booking in appointments. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, are you telling me that AI doesn't take vacations? It doesn't take sick leave?
No, absolutely not.
Doesn't call in at the last minute and say I have menstrual cramps?
No.
Heard it all.
Every business needs this.
Oh my God, it doesn't call in sick. Okay, and then there's no flooding on the street. Yeah, 24/7. So so does that reduce jobs, or do you think it makes a company more efficient, allow, like you said, the receptionist to take on other tasks?
Well, it can do both. It depends on the size of the company, what their goal is. If their company's struggling and they may need to downsize, or they could just get like a part-time administrator and then use AI to do the mundane tasks that that they would be paying someone to sit and answer a phone for 8 hours. AI can do all of that for them, and they could get someone into, whether it be, accounts, filing, whatever, that side of it. But even accounts and things, a lot of it can all be set up through AI.
Well, let me give you a scenario, and I'll bring this up because it's not too recent, but more recent than, well, within the last 5 years. I walked into a new dentist because I'd moved to a new city. I'd moved to Las Vegas from when I was living in Asia. I moved back because of the pandemic and went to go see a dentist for the first time, found by recommendation. So I walk into the dentist. They have the sliding glass window in the reception area. I don't know if you have that in Australia.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So she opened it up because the door opened up, and she was texting. She opened it up and was texting with her thumbs on her phone, chewing gum with her mouth open. So she was making popping sounds, and she looked up at me, and said,
Right.
And I thought, wow. She was probably 20.
Yeah.
20 years old, mouth open, chewing gum, and tatted up the whole 9 yards of and I said, excuse me, I have an appointment at 2 p.m. to see Dr. Whomever. I'm not going to mention the office. And she said, I got another from her. Okay, here's some paperwork and fill it out. And then she closed the window. It was on a clipboard.
Yep.
How would AI fix that? I'm challenging you a little bit.
Okay, so firstly, you would book an appointment via a calendar.
Okay.
The calendar would send you reminders. The calendar can also attach, you can also attach patient information sheets to your calendar that the patient needs to complete pre-appointment. So then once they come in for their appointment, all documentation's already done, and whoever's there to greet them, it would be, I mean, no, we can't change how the human reacts to people, but as a business owner, I certainly wouldn't have someone like that as my front line, greeting people and welcoming them to my business.
Oh, I wouldn't like it either. I mean, it was the dentistry part, the actual delivery of the services were fine.
Yeah.
But how I got received at the front desk offended me. And
Yes.
I needed an oral surgery. It was a surgeon, not just
Yes.
a dentist. And I needed this done. And I didn't tell him until after the surgery was performed, because the office manager called me after and said, it was just interesting how they ran their practice. They were probably doing $2-3 million a year out of this. I mean, it was a machine, expensive service. I don't know. Well, my surgery cost $3,000-$4,000. I mean, it was not cheap.
Yep.
And then I said, when I left after my follow-up appointment, I said, I'd like to see the office manager. And she said, well, you can book an appointment to see her if you want. I said, is she here? She said, yes, but she's busy. I said, okay, fine. Too busy to talk to a patient that just dropped 3,000 to 4,000.
Wow.
And then she said, oh, hold on one second. I said, oh, really? She's too busy to talk to a patient that just dropped cash, $3,500. Really? And then she marched, and then she said, oh, hold on. She got scared. And then she called her, and then the lady came forward and said, oh, how can I help you? I said, your customer service sucks. And I want to tell you that.
Yeah.
I tend to be very direct.
Yeah.
The medical practice is good, but how I feel when I leave and what I refer to you, no. The surgery I feel good about and all this, but I don't feel good how I felt here. And I repeated back to her how I got treated, and I didn't like it. And I said, it also ends with you refusing to see a patient and saying I need to book an appointment to talk to an office manager who's right here present. I said, not good. And
well, AI can also do
that's what I was at. So
do the follow-ups, do the reviews, get the feedback, so that you don't have someone sitting there at a phone having to ring all the patients, and that you can receive an email with you can have a like a good, great, excellent service, a comment section where you can have any feedback, whether it be in all aspects. You can design a form to how was your first impression when you walked into the practice, and and you mark that. How was your oral surgeon? How was your exiting the practice? And so all those things, that's all part of your statistics for your business. And if you want to grow your business, you need to be, in today's world, AI won't replace you, but if you don't implement it in your business, you will be left behind.
How can reverts go out and market themselves? If they want to be mini Ayeshas, what would you teach them? Would it start with mindset? Would it start with AI? Would it start with accounting? What would you suggest to these reverts?
So for me personally, it would be a mindset start. It would be doing discovery call with them, determining what they want for themselves, where they want to go, what their goals are, their time frames around different aspects of things, so that then for me would be able to design the coaching side of it. And then depending on what they wanted to do, if they want to do AI, if they want to do, that's such a broad term today. So you can be completely faceless. There are faceless channels. You can create reels and carousels and all sorts of marketing today that you do not need to show yourself. And that's a big thing for a lot of not just reverts, but Muslims as well, Muslim women, because they've never been in the public eye. That would probably scare them.
So
But
this is going to give them an opportunity to shine without shining their face or having
exactly.
makeup. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you can have their face exposed all the way to being covered up with dots and still make money and bring household income in.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's about building rapport, building trust, but also having that humility and allowing them their space to to grow and excel and supporting them on their journey.
Ayesha, how can
Thing I
people
didn't
find,
have when I started.
yes, well, how can people find more information about how you can help them?
So my website is Western Soul Revival and .com. So if anyone was interested in reaching out, and even if they just wanted to have a chat, happy to chat. I've got a booking calendar, and I've got my email and stuff there. People can contact me that way.
westernsoulrevival.com, westernsoulrevival.com,
Yeah.
westernsoulrevival.com goes back to my radio days, 3 calls to action. Ayesha Hussain has been our guest today on the Amazing Authorities podcast. For reverts to all sorts of women who are looking to start an online business and help them get coached into excellence, profits, and being their higher self. Ayesha Hussain has been our guest today on Amazing Authorities podcast.
Thanks, Mitch. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Mitch Carson to the Western Soul Revival podcast. Mitch is not only a renowned marketing expert, but also a mentor to countless entrepreneurs and businesses worldwide. With decades of experience under his belt, he's known for a dynamic approach to marketing and his ability to unlock growth potential in businesses of all sizes. Mitch's work has left a global footprint, and his insights can ignite the spark of change in those seeking transformation. So welcome, Mitch.
I am pleased to be here, Ayesha. Thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show.
You're welcome. So, Mitch, your career spans years of inspiring marketing success stories. Can you share with the listeners today a pivotal moment in your journey that significantly shaped your approach to business and life?
Oh gosh, there are several, but I'll bring up one of note. Where my mindset changed and income followed was when I felt I deserved to make significant income. And when I changed, there were a couple moments, but I could go through the whole timeline. But the one one focal point, one distinctive move was when I wrote my first published book, because
Right.
I believed I deserved. When I got published by John Wiley and Sons, which is a New York publisher, not an independent publisher like you can do on Amazon, and that's great as well. I do teach that topic. But when I went through a major publisher and got a $10,000 advance, all of a sudden it validated me.
Right.
Outside validation. It wasn't a friend or family telling me, Mitch, you're great and you're wonderful, because that is what people are expected to receive from friends and family. But when I had total strangers validating me, and when my book became an international bestseller through the traditional publishing route, we're going back to 2008, I felt totally accomplished. Totally accomplished. Like I had arrived. I had ticked all the boxes. I've been on media all over the world at that point. I had spoken on stages. Now, it added to it, but back then probably 40 to 50 countries. Now it's 63 up to this point in my life. And that was a pivotal moment when I saw my book on the bookshelves. It's like, I deserve this. I've done what other greats have done. I've published my own book in my name. I've been in other anthologies when you're one of the contributors under one author. That's at the front. That's fine. That's a good starting, taking a baby step. But to have my own book that was published, and I'd written many other books prior to that. Were you hearing me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I had so many successes, but that was the one of note that I share with people gives you that outside validation,
Right.
which confirmed that I am somebody.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's really important for anyone that's trying to get into the online space. It's having that validation, that acceptance, knowing that, you know, you do have something to offer other people.
And being a podcast host.
Yes. Well, you've
That's
been a
the
TV
newer.
presenter as well, and you're also a international public speaker. Like you said, you know, you've spoken on stages in 50 different countries. So with that, in today's ever evolving world of marketing, how do you personally stay ahead of the trends? And what advice would you give to other women that are looking to break into this sort of arena, this dynamic field of online?
Yeah, I would say this to anyone, but we're talking a little bit to your audience of the women or reverts that are there and other women. And I would give the same advice to men who have been hiding or haven't come out as and tapped into all their potential. You just have to do it. Without stretching a rubber band, you're never going to know how large that rubber band can stretch. And here's the truth. Once you stretch a rubber band one time, it never comes back to your original size. It's been stretched.
Yes.
And it may come back, but it's bigger than it was before it got stretched. It never goes back to its original size. So you've stretched, whether you just have to do it by taking that step. And that can be starting a podcast, writing a book, speaking for the first time. And it might be as simple as Toastmasters, where they help you with the ums and ahs and you knows, some of those verbal faux pas. And it's doing something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and making that step. And what's also incredibly important is seeking a mentor. I've had multiple mentors whom I've paid money to, and you have to pay them. This isn't your Uncle Bob that's down the street. He may show you how to change your oil in your car. Wonderful. Okay. That's a teacher. A mentor is somebody you pay, who guides you, you respect, and that has been where you want to go.
And keeps you accountable.
Keeps you accountable. Yes, all those elements. So you must pay that person.
Yes.
Or pay into a mastermind with an accountability partner. Without the monetary component, without feeling the sting of financial payment, you're not as motivated.
Exactly. In Australia, we call it skin in the game.
Skin in the game. Well, we say it in America as well. I'll
Yeah.
say it as an American in Thailand right now. You've got to have skin in the game. Without that, you're not going to take it seriously.
Sorry. Correct. So, because you've worked with so many entrepreneurs and businesses throughout your career, worldwide, what unique strengths do you believe that women bring to the table, and how can they leverage their strengths to build authentic and successful businesses?
All right. Let me start with the basics here. Without yin, there is no yang. And without yang, there is no yin. I don't draw a distinction between men and women at the outset. I believe we are intertwined. We come from our mothers. Women have a strategic advantage over men in many ways. Physical strength isn't one of them. We just have different bodies. So let's talk about the strengths women do have that men can never replicate. Number one, multitasking. I cannot do two things at once. My brain does not work that way.
Yeah.
Women, and I'm generalizing, and please excuse me if I'm saying it, but it's a positive generalization. It's a glorification of women, not a disrespect what I'm going to say. Women can be breastfeeding a baby, flipping a burger if they're, and talking to Betsy on the phone, and meanwhile screaming at Timmy because he's pulling the cat's tail, and doing it all simultaneously and with great precision.
Absolutely.
Women have the ability, I don't know what if it goes back to when we were so young, or women are truly biologically different than men. And it comes out regardless of culture, regardless of back, it's something I can't explain it. I'm not a biologist. It's an observation of me being on the planet 65 years and seeing it. I
Yeah.
also used to run a manufacturing plant. So let's talk about that. Let's go back to the multitasking in a minute, but I'm going to show another example. I ran a manufacturing operation years ago for a short period of time for my uncle. I stepped in as the general manager, and there were components that needed to be assembled. Intricate assembly had to take place. All of the people in the assembly line, there were about 40 of them in this one particular, were women. Middle-aged women, some young women, but mostly middle-aged and older women. Men failed. They couldn't do it. And when they did it, they're just not, the dexterity of a man can never match a woman. And it's partially the ability to focus on multiple things at the same time. Now, it's not working an assembly line where they have to slap a tire on a car. That's one issue. That's one action. But when you have multiple parts coming together, and this again is the multitasking component, multiple parts coming together simultaneously, men fail.
Right.
By comparison to women. Are there men that can do it? Sure. I ain't one of them. Ayesha. Self confession. I am not one of those men that can do. I went and they would laugh at me because I tried to do it. Now I can lift heavy things. I'm a strong bloke, as you say. I'm able to do all of these things that tie into my God-given strength, or my body type.
Yeah.
Betsy out in the plant may not be able to do that simply because she's not given those assets. She has different assets.
Correct.
So when it comes to what can women do that they can leverage, it's your ability to multitask. That's been proven to me over and over again in not just the physical labor side of things. I mentioned the housewife who's there, or maybe she's a wife or a single mom for that matter, who can do multiple tasks, conduct herself to handling multiple tasks at the same time and do it with great efficiency and competency. A man, breastfeeding, sticking a bottle in Billy, trying to cook a burger, yelling at Timmy on the couch, and not possible. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It might exist, but it just can't exist. So let's transfer those realities, because I call them realities. We are different. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We are different.
100%.
But that's what makes us, and we need yin and yang. We need both. You need men for physical components. I mean, who's going to hang, who's going to get up on do the Christmas tree at the top if you're doing that, or if you're, other component, go up the telephone poles to hang a wire. That's usually male oriented. Doesn't have to be, but it usually is.
Yeah.
Or the steel workers are 97% male because it's a physically, but assembly and doing things on that and multitasking, females by far exceed their male counterparts.
Right.
And so let's talk, what can they do? I think SOPs, standard operating procedures, can be put together much better than men can. I think a lot of times oral skills, verbal skills tend to fall into the laps of women because their minds work simultaneously and they can do these tasks equal, if not better than men. And it's just been my observation, and I'm not biased. This is an unbiased observation. So I think if women want to, I think women tend to lean into marketing at a greater percentage than men do. More women are in Marcom jobs than men, generally speaking. I could be wrong, but they tend to, and anything requiring a voice if you have a voice, meaning if you're speaking and the trust that comes from a woman is higher than it is from a loudmouth man. Why is that? You're in a podcast right now interviewing me. One of the convincing elements why you got into podcasting, I believe, and it's because I did my research. I'm a research junkie. Who's the voice? What's the first voice we hear when we come out of the birth canal?
Yeah, the mothers.
And for years, who is it that talks into our ears? You have children. Did you talk into their ears?
Absolutely. Yep. We've frozen again, Mitch.
Yeah. Okay. You're a mother. Did you talk into their ears?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Did your mother talk into your ears?
Yes.
Expected. That's who we trust first and foremost in our lives, regardless of culture, is our mothers. More our fathers, sure, in many cases, but more leaning towards the women. So if you can lean into what has already been given to you through our Creator,
Yeah.
you have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
2 ears and 1 mouth. So more people are listening to you. I truly believe making that fact, that awareness at your fingertips will allow women to excel where they can naturally excel.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Thanks for that, Mitch. So for those women that, and if there is any men out there listening today that feel like constrained by the societal or self-imposed limitations, what's some key advice that you could offer them to break through the barriers that they, that they are feeling, and that so that they can reach their full potential?
Well, there are 2 things, because I belong to a program I'm quite transparent about. I'm a recovered alcoholic, 41 years sober. And 2 things that are principled in my program of recovery and what that I share with other people is prayer and or meditation. And some people embrace prayer. Many of your listeners are of your same faith or might be of a different faith. For me, my faith is not necessarily related to any one religion, but I believe in something that is very strong. And I meditate, and I also meditate about how others can benefit from me. I focus on the good. I believe man and mankind, I'm going to refer to as men and women both, are basically good people, are basically good. And I want to focus on the good aspects of them. Do they stray? Of course. We're imperfect as a species, but we're basically good. How are we different than a lion? A lion eats and kills, and there's no conscience. We have a conscience, or should have one. Those that don't end up in prison. So the ones that are out there in the free world, I think, have a conscience. And I believe that conscience can be controlled and leveraged in a positive way through either prayer or meditation and service, helping others selflessly and not necessarily bragging about it. I don't think you have to share with everybody. Oh, I gave food to the homeless today. Well, and take pictures. Look at me. I'm with Toothless Bill. That's not really nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Tom. Okay. You're not giving, you don't need to talk about it. You tell your friends, but posting that on social media is a little bit narcissistic.
Yeah.
Let's stay in our lanes, help other people selflessly, give with your heart, and allow yourself to feel success. There's no shame in it, in any religious text anywhere. Money is not the root of evil. The love of money is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it is fine to make a lot of money. It's actually what God wants from us, if we're to look at that in that context. We're encouraged to be successful because it allows us the opportunity to help people who haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
That's what success means to me, is I have been able to marinate in success There's nothing greater in my world, Ayesha, than when I'm able to pay it forward and help other people. I'm in my senior years now, and it's a reality. I don't like saying it, but I'm comfortable saying it now because it is what it is. At my senior citizen status, it's gratifying to be able to help other people. It's gratifying to know that I've made a contribution to a younger person's life to help them become everything they can become without buying into their own barriers.
Absolutely. So from your previous years of being a TV presenter and been on several television stations and stuff like that yourself, you have now started your own podcast training. So you teach people how to become podcasters.
Yes.
Where can, if anyone out there and of my listeners that would like to be a podcaster, where can they reach you, Mitch?
They can do two places. Either if they want to get into the world of media and get covered on television, network television around the world, getinterviewedguaranteed.com, 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 or yourpodcastbuddy.com. Yourpodcastbuddy.com, yourpodcastbuddy.com. And right there are all sorts of free downloads, information, and the ability to book an appointment with me if that is something you feel you would like to do.
Lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, Mitch.
Thank you, Ayesha. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to mitchcarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.